King of a Road here, back at ya with a brand new video. Today, we're going to talk about what happened in the Mojave wasteland. A lot of people seem confused or upset at the things that happened in the Mojave wasteland. People seem to not understand why things are the way they are, or why they happened. But the show and the game have an explanation. I will admit, at first I was confused, but then I took a second look and I understood. So I'm gonna do my best to try and connect the dots, so that way you understand. First things first. Did the courier survive being shot in the head? The answer is yes, because we can see a Mark II Securitron in the soda factory that Thaddeus was living in. This could mean that the courier either gave it to Mr. House or he gave it to Yes Man. In the show, when the ghoul goes inside the Lucky 38 penthouse, we can see an undamaged Securitron, which is identical to where Yes Man fell when uploading himself. So it can be assumed that the courier went with the Yes Man route. The big reason people are upset is the condition of every faction within the Mojave. People want to know what happened and if it fits with the lore. Through the DLCs, the courier was transformed, and after listening to the recordings left behind by Ulysses, the courier adopted a new ideology. His perspective on the NCR, the Legion, the Dam, the whole Mojave itself changed. The Legion, Mr. House, the NCR, and Independent Vegas all held no promising future for the Mojave. Each had their own distinct flaws. The NCR tries to enforce old world laws and values in a world that has transformed into something new and different. The NCR has caused more harm than good in the Mojave, because their own leaders have made selfish decisions. They have conflict within themselves and are stretched too thin, which causes even more death. When the bombs fell, Mr. House acted selfish and saved his own skin and his precious city and let the rest of the world burn. When the courier meets Mr. House, he is still obsessed with his city and the old world. Mr. House has no concern about rebuilding society outside of New Vegas. Instead, Mr. House prioritizes space colonization. Ulysses predicted the Legion's collapse upon Caesar's death, and was right. The Legion themselves are similar to Mr. House and the NCR, to where they're fixated on the old world and its values. The only difference is that Caesar tweaks the Imperial Rome values to fit this new world. The rest of the Legion's flaws explain themselves. And with an independent Mojave, where there is no real leadership, anarchy rules the streets. The Yes Man ending brings chaos and violence. The Mojave still needs a leader. It needs a leader that fits with the people of the Mojave itself. It fits the new world. Even the courier themselves are not fit to be the leader, because they are not from the Mojave. Ulysses and the courier sought to let the Mojave develop its own civilization, for a leader to rise above and make a new flag. The courier sided with Yes Man, which means that Mr. House was killed. Ulysses and the courier, realizing that the Mojave needed to form its own civilization and live under their own flag, nuked both the NCR and the Legion. Destroying their supply line would not completely eradicate them, but it would remove their dominant presence in the Mojave. Mr. House knew about Yes Man and the plan that Benny had to overthrow Vegas. This is because Yes Man was not up to date, and Mr. House has access and can see for all Robco products. Here's a short clip to explain a few things.
Attention! Your business has been flagged as having out-of-date Securitrons. Replace or update today to avoid exposure to armed conflict and penalties for late updating. Certainty of global conflict means consumption deadlines have changed. Robco reality models benefit all mankind.
Consult changelog for questions. Auto volume engaged.
Help prove them right. Do not risk your Securitrons breaking down at the moment of truth. Obsolete Securitrons are not guaranteed to serve you. Make payment now. Make payment now. You are now enrolled in AutoPay. To stop at any time, cancel your subscription physically and destroy Securitrons by hand. Delayed purchasing could cause catastrophe. Secure your future with Securitron. Message complete.
Yes Man found a update after the second battle of Hoover Dam, and that was a failsafe which basically killed Yes Man. After Yes Man died, no one was really in control of the Securitrons, which led them to roam the wastes. And Victor, Mr. House's Securitron, was the one who helped set up this trap. So yeah, the House always wins. When Victor says that Mr. House needs the cold fusion, it's not because the dam's not good enough. It's just that his AI requires even more power than the dam can provide. But also, for Mr. House's plan to work, his 100-year plan, he can't take the dam with him if he's gonna go and colonize space. He's gonna need power to take with him into space to colonize other planets. And with cold fusion, it's infinite power, and it's something he can physically pick up and take with him. As to why he wanted the dam in the first place, it's because he didn't have any cold fusion yet, so he had to make do with what he had, and it was the dam that helped him. And he couldn't use his nuclear reactor because it wasn't functioning correctly. Because the NCR was not assisted in strengthening themselves, the NCR faced many casualties outside the dam during the second battle for Hoover Dam. Since Camp Forlorn Hope wasn't pulled out of the gutter, the Legion wiped them out, leaving only a few retreating survivors. Camp Golf got attacked, but the Rangers successfully fought off the Legion. However, the Misfits tried to distinguish themselves, and were caught, court-martialed, and hung. After the war, Chief Hanlon made the Rangers return to NCR territory, abandoning Camp Golf. During the second battle of Hoover Dam, Novak was eliminated by the Legion. Sometime during or after the second battle of Hoover Dam, Camp McCarran was attacked. They had been attacked by the Legion. Since the courier did not interfere or help the NCR, President Kimball was assassinated. As Ulysses predicted, after the death of Caesar, the Legion fell apart. Legate Lanius had been killed by the courier during the second battle of Hoover Dam. The legate was given orders by Caesar, and Lanius would not defy him. After both Caesar and Lanius' death, it would bring lots of discouragement among the Legion and its soldiers. Most of the Legion only follows Caesar because of the character that Edward made up, that he became. They don't follow Caesar because of the values that Caesar had. Instead of destroying the dam itself, the courier decided to activate the Securitrons that were underneath the fort. Just about everyone that was there was killed. The only people that could have escaped is likely Caesar and a few of his inner circle. However, seeing the destruction, it's likely that Lucius died defending Caesar and trying to get him out. After the fort was destroyed, Caesar and the Legion would have been forced to leave and go somewhere else. With most of his inner circle dead, like Lucius and Volpes and other members, he would have been really angry, especially at the loss of the dam, for a second time, especially at the old age that he's at. So, he lives a little longer with the tumor that he has, and decides, you know what? Forget about it, the Legion dies with me. The courier killed Tabitha, which would have led traveling super mutants and Nightkin to travel west. Before Doug Henry could reunite with the remnants, he needed to find a cure for Nightkin's schizophrenia. So, with the help of the courier, they found a cure. And Jacobstown was more populated with Nightkin and super mutants. It wouldn't take long for trouble to roll in. The Enclave would notice Jacobstown and take it out. It would then force the super mutants and Nightkin to go back into hiding. The courier destroyed the Brotherhood of Steel bunker because the Brotherhood of Steel was a threat to the growth of a new civilization for the Mojave. When the courier met the boomers, he knew they were a problem. They were killing random people that they called savages, most of which were probably innocent. And their whole grand plan is to get a bomber and do what they've been doing, but across the wasteland. But this is a plan that is more obsessed with by Loyal and Pearl. So the courier kills both Loyal and Pearl and allows the younger generation to take leadership and make the boomers into something new. However, with this choice, the boomers leave Nellis, and their history is forgotten. Their leaders were brutally killed by the courier for their actions, and the fiends were scattered across the wasteland, becoming easy prey. After independent Vegas was achieved, chaos emerged, which overwhelmed the followers of the Apocalypse with more patience, more often than ever. The courier helped the town of Goodsprings fight against the Powder Gangers. The courier did not support the nature or the reason behind the Powder Gangers' destructive behavior, and after he dealt with them, he made sure they were not a problem in the future. After finding out the scheme between Van Graffs and the Crimson Caravan, the courier brought them to justice and told the NCR about the attacks on the caravans. The NCR used this information as blackmail in order to get supplies from both of them. However, later on, the Crimson Caravan would be wiped out in the Mojave from people using militaristic tactics. The gunrunners were questioned but denied involvement. After the courier convinced Papa Khan to make their own legacy, they went to Wyoming, and their empire grew larger and stronger. When the courier went to Prim to find Benny, Deputy Beagle would share information about his whereabouts, only if the courier helped bring law back to Prim. So between a robot, the NCR, or someone who has been a sheriff, the courier decided to give Prim a person who has been a sheriff, someone who has the experience. That way Prim wouldn't rely on the NCR. The remnants of the Enclave were reunited, and after the Battle of Hoover Dam, they vanished without a trace. Since the NCR was treated positively, it can be assumed that the Keens stopped violence against the NCR and tolerated them. This would allow the NCR to give supplies and food to the people of Freeside. It would also make Freeside more stable and safer compared to other places in the Mojave. The strip was hit with a dirty bomb. A dirty bomb, if you don't know, is where you open a bunch of toxic waste canisters. The Keens made sure everyone got evacuated out of Freeside, but followers of the Apocalypse helped aid anyone who was affected by the radiation. They are also able to tell when the radiation levels dropped, just enough to go in there and fix the problem without dying instantly. However, whoever went in there and fixed the problem would not come back, so the Keens decided to go in there and save the day. Some of them stayed, though, to watch over the citizens of Freeside. The Keens went into the strip and took the barrels, sealed them shut, and took them up the strip. Unfortunately, though, it cost their lives, and they ended up turning feral. After the strip was cleared, radiation still remained, but not as much. The Enclave would then see the empty strip and decide to put death claws in it. This was done to protect the corporate vault under the Lucky 38. Because Hank was working with the Enclave, and they needed Hank to be protected while he finished the project they had him do. The Enclave used technology to influence the behavior of the Death Claws, which is why they remain in the strip and never attempt to leave or attack those that are in Freeside. As sad as it was, the people of Freeside were forced to move on, but the Kings would be remembered as heroes who saved Freeside. The courier convinced Veronica to leave the Brotherhood to join the followers of the Apocalypse. The courier saw that she could make a difference and help people with her knowledge, and it would also secure a bright future for her, instead of spiraling down a dark road by staying with the Brotherhood. Arcade had been convinced by the courier to stay with the followers of the Apocalypse, because he was making a good difference. Raoul was convinced that his gunslinging days were over, and he finally found peace. Instead of living a life of destruction, Raoul would live a life where he would contribute to society by helping to build something new out of it. With the help of the courier, Cassidy got justice for what happened to her caravan. And after the events of the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, Cassidy went back home to her little shack outside of the Vault City, where she died 30 years later. The courier allowed the Night King grandma to take half doses so she could remember her grandchildren, since the memories is all she had left. It's okay to look at the past, but it's not okay to let it consume you. Eventually, Lily would leave, going west. The dog was helped by Doc Henry by using Ray's brain. This gave Rex peace, and gave him warm memories in contrast to the dark memories he had when he was in the Legion. He didn't have to be a soldier anymore, and could live as a loving and loyal companion. Rex stayed with the courier, being a loyal companion by his side. The courier and Boone worked well together, and after defending Bitter Springs from a secret Legion attack, the courier helped Boone make amends for what had happened in Bitter Springs, and instead of being full of vengeance, he would try to help others that cannot defend themselves. Eddie's clone in the Divide did not sacrifice himself, but instead went to its old home, Navarro. But before splitting with the courier, he transmitted his memories to his original body, in Prim. The original Eddie stayed with the courier's side, even after the Second Battle of Hoover Dam.
The Divide erupted in fire, violent, red, as the last message of the two couriers arced into the sky. The missiles rained like spears down on the land, burning flags and communities alike, destroying all they struck. The history of the West was erased for the second time, thorough and complete, and America slept once more. Hopeville burned lightless in the night, invisible fires of radiation scorching it from within and without. It is said a man still walked its streets with a tattered jacket, an old world flag etched on the back. He remained there, perhaps as punishment for the scars he left on the wastes, or a reminder of a history he could not forget. For Ulysses, his journey was over. The courier had been the end of his road. As for the courier, he turned his back on his home for the second time and made his way back, navigating the treachery of the divide. Tunnelers and the marked men avoided the lone figure, as if recognizing the courier's right to passage, or out of fear. The courier walked until he stood again upon the edge of the divide, the last road he would walk before the second battle for Hoover Dam. There, beside his feet, was a final package from one courier to another. A footlocker bearing a gift and a message. But that message, it is something for couriers to carry, and for them alone. The lights flickered across the divide, reminders that the old world histories persist and find meaning in the present. It said, war never changes. Men do, through the roads they walk. And this road has reached its end.
And so the courier who had cheated death in the cemetery outside Good Springs cheated death once again, and the Mojave wasteland was forever changed. The courier, with the aid of Yes Man, drove both the Legion and the NCR from Hoover Dam, securing New Vegas's independence from both factions. With Mr. House out of the picture, part of the Securitron army was diverted to the Strip to keep order. Any chaos on the streets was ended. Quickly. Chaos became uncertainty, then acceptance with minimal loss of life. New Vegas assumed its position as an independent power in the Mojave. Supporting the ideals of independence, the courier was recognized as the man responsible for a truly free New Vegas. He ensured Mr. House's tyranny was broken, and neither Caesar's Legion nor NCR would ever gain control over New Vegas.
Though some super mutants in Nightkin continued to journey to the legendary Utopia, they found little trace of its existence. Some eventually found their way to Jacobstown, but many wandered off into the wastes, confused and disheartened.
Convinced that his time as a gunslinger was past, Raoul made peace with the idea of growing old. After traveling with the courier for a time, he retired and settled down in Outer Vegas, where he would spend his days fixing ancient machinery.
Without organized leadership, the remaining boomers slowly drifted away, leaving Nellis Air Force Base to be flooded by prospectors and scavengers. All of the boomers' accumulated knowledge quickly scattered, and their existence slowly faded from memory.
Buried beneath tons of rubble, the Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel was no more. Those few who were outside the Hidden Valley bunker when it was destroyed settled into new lives, or headed west to find a new chapter to join.
Though she'd seen the writing on the wall, the destruction of the Mojave Brotherhood came far more suddenly than Veronica had expected. The news devastated her. Despite her best efforts to leave her past behind, she found herself compelled to make one final journey to Hidden Valley. There, she paid her last respects to the only family she had ever known.
Their leaders destroyed by the courier, the fiends scattered throughout the wasteland. Without the organization of Motor Runner, Cook, Violet, and Driver Nephi, they were easy prey.
After the courier ensured New Vegas remained free, the followers found that independent Vegas was even more unstable and violent than before. Old Mormon Fort became excessively burdened by the influx of patients, struggling to provide even the most basic of services.
Arcade was tending to the locals of Freeside when he learned that Caesar's Legion had been defeated, and NCR was being pushed out of New Vegas. Though he found that independence for New Vegas was not all he hoped it would be, Arcade did his best to help the locals govern themselves.
With New Vegas's independence formally declared, Goodsprings thrived. More travelers stopped by Goodsprings on their way to and from the Strip, and the locals grew prosperous from the traffic.
In the years following the destruction of Cassidy caravans, NCR used evidence of the plot to blackmail the Crimson Caravan and the Van Graffs. NCR enacted strict trade laws with little resistance, strengthening their supply lines and their position in the Mojave. Cass lived to see the courier bring down 3 armies, and by her count, that was 3 more than she'd expected. She kept quiet about that, though.
During the Battle of Hoover Dam, the Great Khans quickly evacuated Red Rock Canyon and headed north and east into the plains of Wyoming. There, they reconnected with the followers of the Apocalypse and rebuilt their strength. Bolstered by ancient knowledge of governance, economics, and transportation, they carved a mighty empire out of the ruins of the Northwest.
Thanks to the courier and Lily, a cure for the Nightkin's schizophrenia was found shortly after Dr. Henry's experiment concluded. Nightkin and other super mutants in the wasteland flocked to Jacobstown, and the town became known as a haven where a mutant could find peace.
Lily continued to take her medicine at half doses, and although she remembered her grandchildren, her mind remained muddled and confused. Eventually, she parted ways with the courier and traveled west, seeking the remnants of her past.
The Kings retained their control of Freeside, and while they continued to favor the needs of locals, they tolerated the citizens of the defeated NCR.
After Ray's brain was transplanted into Rex's cybernetic body, it took Rex some time to adjust to the old scrapyard dog's memories. Eventually, Rex's mind settled peacefully, melding his own memories with that of long travels with old Lady Gibson.
The Misfits' laziness caught up with them when the Legion attacked Camp Golf. Those who weren't killed in the attack attempted to flee, but were caught at Mojave Outpost, court-martialed, and hanged from the Ranger Monument.
Though NCR was withdrawing from the region, Boone remained in New Vegas, finding work as a security guard and caravan scout along the highways. While he might have preferred rejoining his old unit, Boone couldn't bring himself to abandon the city where he'd met his wife.
After Hoover Dam, the leaderless powder gangers at the correctional facility vanished into the wastes, leaving the prison empty. The correctional facility became another abandoned ruin in the wasteland, its carcass occasionally picked over by enterprising prospectors.
With Cook dead, the powder gangers at Vault 19 fell apart. Those who weren't destroyed by the courier fled into the hills or attempted to work their way back through the Mojave wasteland. Few survived.
After Hoover Dam, Sheriff Myers runs Prim with his own style of frontier justice. He deals with most folks fairly, but now and then someone winds up dead with little to no evidence against them.
Despite distinguishing themselves during the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, the Rangers' victory was short-lived due to the courier's interference. Chief Hanlon personally directed the evacuation of the Rangers to Mojave Outpost as they fell back into NCR territory. Bitter over the waste of life in the Mojave, Hanlon stepped down from his post. After a campaign in which he denounced Oliver's and Kimball's hawkish, imperialist ways, Hanlon was elected as the Senator of Reading.
After their bold arrival at Hoover Dam, the remnants disappeared as quickly as they came. Legends of their power spread throughout the Southwest, a reminder of why people once feared the sight of vertibirds in the sky.
And so the courier's road came to an end, for now. In the new world of the Mojave wasteland, fighting continued, blood was spilled, and many lived and died just as they had in the old world. Because war never changes.
And that is how the Fallout show works. If you liked the video, hit the like button and subscribe. Comment down below what you want to see next. And I'll see you next time on The King of the Road.